On the heels of disbelief came the anger. At the violent perpetrator, at the broken system, anger at the relentless media, at the crushing loss.
The way the news media portrays Rick's killing was that, the way they make it sound that he was able to grab his gun with no force or whatever like that and shoot Rick. But the truth of the matter is, when he went in that apartment, he was attacked with a flaming towel, soaked with fingernail polish. His eyes were instantly burned, so he was blind. And the towel wrapped around his neck, and even being blinded, he was able to get Dockery off Judy Olson. And that's when he grabbed his gun and shot Rick, because Rick was holding on to him and he couldn't see. And the news media never portrays that. And I think that should come out.
You hear about officers that are killed in the line of duty, and you hear about cops maybe driving too fast or doing something stupid and getting killed. Rick wasn't doing anything stupid. He was answering a call for help, and he died trying to save somebody else. And it wasn't any fault of his own, and he was a true hero. He saved the lives of 2 others and died as a result of it.
But there are certain holes in the system that need to be addressed, and without them being addressed, I don't know the answer. We can do the blueprint, we can do everything right, and unless there's changes made on a higher level than law enforcement, then there's nothing we can do. You can't protect somebody with a piece of paper.
I can't foresee any type of a domestic that you shouldn't send at least 2 officers. I don't see that.
I don't think any police officer, when he's on duty, should be alone. It's absolutely deplorable that that happens in North St. Paul. And still does today. They haven't changed it yet.
Me as an investigator, I see the order for protections, if they work or if they don't work. The justice system does need to step it up a little bit for these violent offenders too, because they let them go with very little bail.
I have a philosophy that dangerous people need to be in prison. And we've got so many people in prison for doing narcotics violations and for having a little bit of dope on them. And I think what happens is dangerous people need to be in prison. This guy was dangerous. Can I do anything about it? Can you do anything about it? I don't think so. I think it's way above our heads. It's the legislature, and it's the judges, and it's part of the job.
If I had any advice for a younger officer coming in, is if they have probable cause to make an arrest for an assault, make the arrest. Make the arrest. And if the system gets full, the system gets full.
I decided one day I was going down to get a copy of Rick's My Marriage license, and I happened to think I'm going to just stop in and see the judge. I wanted to know why he let this man out. He'd been arrested on Saturday, and he was let out, and on Monday morning he killed my husband.
It was my understanding that he had $30,000 bail set and was let out, and the next day he killed my father.
And then, almost immediately, a brotherhood of police officers surrounded Rick's family and fellow officers, spreading their safety net of compassion around the brokenhearted.
All the officers, just the support that they give each other.
The police community, the way they come together and hold you together is like something I've never experienced.
People really stepped up to the plate because of the kind of man that Rick was.
I love Maplewood for what they've done. We've leaned on them in the last, I'd say, year, and needed their help a lot more than they've needed ours. It could have been 2 cops dead that day. And could you imagine that?
Scott Swenson and a lot of the officers took the whole family under their wing, and for the last 9 months, I mean, they haven't just been helping Christine. They've been taking care of the whole family. And they say that we're part of family now, and that'll never change.
And I didn't realize beforehand what an enormous family the police force is.
and how well they take care of their own. You know, I was just amazed that there were multiple squads sitting outside of the house around the clock, and they would be standing out there with their hands crossed behind their back watching the house, just out of respect. And that just astounded me because I'd never realized they would do anything like that, and the amount of respect they showed, and the fact that he was never left alone.
Many people want Rick to be remembered for how he lived. These are words that describe Rick.
Honorable, integrity, and I think honest.
Husband, father, professional.
He was professional, kind-hearted. He was amazing.
He was a caring individual. He cared about his family, he cared about his job, but his family came first.
He's kind of a Renaissance kind of man. Kind of a throwback fairness.
Wonderful, huggable, always there for you.
Very loving, kind, loved his family, loved his job.
Trust me, I'm a gentle giant.
I would say the greatest father, the greatest husband, the greatest friend.
Probably taking care of business.
Fun, loving, and courageous.
They broke the mold when they made Rick. A heart of gold, loving, kind, caring, and funny.
You were the best, and I want to miss you, or I love you, and there's not enough words to put in the pack.
Wise, loving, devoted.
Funny. Yeah, funny.
It's gonna cost you $5. I have more feelings than words.
An important part of the healing journey is the Wall of Remembrance in Washington, D.C., where Rick's name would be engraved in stone. Thousands of dollars would be needed to make the trip to the nation's capital.
We threw a very large benefit. It was wall-to-wall people. So it was a lot. Silent auction did really well. I know we did in like the $20,000 range. Overall, everything was great. We did bracelets, we've done buttons, we've done pins. All of that stuff really helped in deferring the cost for everybody to go to DC. So I think that was the key for most of us, so a lot of us could go, was deferring some of the costs, and it worked.
Dozens of family, friends, and colleagues signed up for the trip to Washington, D.C. The outpouring of support at the fundraisers was a testament to the kind of man Rick was.
I think it would be good closure to see that a man of his stature gets honored the way he should be. To bring the whole department out there and to stand out there in honor of him being etched into that wall.
I want to go to Washington, D.C. to be part of Rick being recognized on a national level of giving his life for another person. To know that people will forever go by and see his name on the wall.
Being Rick's partner for the last couple years and working with him closely, we got to form a bond, as I think most of us do, and I didn't want to miss the opportunity to honor him and honor his family.
I think it'll be good for a lot of people. We've all grieved in our own way, and I'm hoping the family has an opportunity to feel pride. If it was me, he'd be there.
Why I got involved was to honor Rick Crittenden and to give back to his family that he gave to us.
This year in Washington, D.C. will be the one and only year where Rick's name will be read. And it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to support that family and be there to support them through the grief that they are going through.
I wanted to be there for not the kudos or to have people say, oh, I'm sorry to hear about your father, but just for the fact that he's immortalized in that granite stone, and that's a part of him. And if it's something real special for me to be there with my sons, and to think that someday they're my great-grandkids and great-great-great-grandkids are going to be taking a rubbing of his name. So I just wanted to be there just to honor him.
To have my boys carrying on the name, and potentially their children to be carrying on the name, and to have, you know, generations and generations from now saying, this is my grandpa or my great-grandpa or my great-great-grandpa. It's always there.
2 luxury buses left the Maplewood Police Station on the morning of May 12th for the escort to the airport, where an honor guard greeted the entourage. 63 people were part of the flight manifest to D.C.
We took like a bus, and the bus was really cool because it was black and no one could see inside. So then, and it was like a limo but a bus, and it had glasses and a cooler and a garbage that was in the wall. So that was kind of cool. And on the outside, there was cops in front of us, and they kept on blocking it. So like everywhere we went, there was no one on the road, just on the other side.
I didn't expect that I was going to be seeing all the red and blue lights on all of the motorcades, and I was not expecting to have the freeways closed.
And how much they respect the fallen officer and the officer's family. I mean, everywhere we went, it seemed that there was this big police motorcade to the airport, from the hotel to the vigil. It just was very, very overwhelming.
Just the unbelievable outpouring of support of officers around the world. It started when we got off the airplane in D.C. We were escorted to our bus by bobbies, which are police officers from England. I mean, I was blown away that people volunteer to come over here, officers from around the world.
In Washington, honor guards escorted over 700 people daily for 2 days. The Minnesota contingent was spirited through rush hour traffic by police escorts, 14 motorcycles clearing the way as cars and bumper-to-bumper traffic inched over for the procession. Many in the group later made their way to the memorial wall to find Rick's name and take a rubbing from the granite stone.
Very emotional. It's very rewarding, just looking at the names of all these officers. It's especially important this year to be out here for Rick, because every year they only read the names of the officers once. And it's so important to be out here for that one time to listen to Rick's name be called out in honor, for him to be added to the wall.
The memorial features 2 curving blue-gray marble walls. Carved on these walls are the names of nearly 19,000 officers who have been killed in the line of duty, dating back to the first known death in 1792.
That evening, to see Richard Scott Crittenden Sr. written on the wall, and to have Junior standing right next to me and my 2 boys, you know, and to have that name on there is history, and we'll all be going out there every year or however often, and to see his name on there. So that was pretty amazing to see that, but very permanent.
Thousands upon thousands gathered at the candlelight vigil to bear witness to the reading of the newly engraved names of the fallen officers.
From the state of Minnesota, Richard Scott Crittenden Sr., September 7th, 2009.
As we raise our candles skyward in a silent salute, let us honor all those who have fallen and their families who have been left behind. Their legacy of service and supreme sacrifice is forever carved on the majestic walls that embrace us here tonight. Our grateful citizenry will always remember, and we pledge to do more with our own lives in memory of them.
The candlelight vigil was the one that pulled my heartstrings more than the ceremony itself. To turn around and see those candles, there was tens of thousands of them behind us, and it was just, and then the candlelight vigil for me was the first time I also seen his name in the granite wall.
Phenomenal. I don't even know words to describe how amazing it was. For me, the candlelight vigil, just when you see all those candles and all those people and all the respect and the support that people show. I heard there were somewhere between 20 and 30,000 people there. It is simply amazing. It gives me goosebumps.
I think that probably the neatest thing that I'd seen when I was there was a candlelight vigil. There was just something. I probably cried for about 5 minutes. Tried to hide it, but it was dark, so nobody was really watching and nobody really cared. But when you've got 5, 6, 7,000 cops there, all in their Class A uniforms, and everybody's holding a candle, and nobody really cared that the guy next to you was crying or the gal next to you was crying, and it just was, it was kind of awe-inspiring.
The candlelight vigil for me, I was told there's like 20-some thousand people there, and just watching as everybody gathered around, I mean, it took a few hours for everybody to get there, but when everybody there, it was amazing. And then when they lit the candles, we all said to each other, oh, this is going to take a while, and it was in a matter of a couple minutes that all these candles were lit.
I loved the candlelight vigil, very emotional and just very emotional.
Yes, in time we'll pass down that shield so proudly worn to another one in blue, in memory of, in memory of, in memory of you.
Just seeing all the people there with all the candles, and that the thin blue line they did, even the laser going out across, and it was kind of smoky with all the candles, you know, lighting up and cutting through the smoke. It was just, I don't know, it was just a sight to see. And then they took the thin blue line and they widened it out, and it was just amazing. I don't think anybody could have been untouched by that ceremony.
A blue light going up, like from a stage, up into the sky. And it was awesome.
Just the thin blue line that was represented, and just when all of the candles were lit, and to see, you know, it in darkness, and then to have the light of the candle, and then the thin blue line coming through the entire crowd was symbolic.
We are the police. It's a thin blue line that keeps the bad from the good. We are the thin blue line that keeps that separated.
My definition would be the line between, you know, the good and evil. And there's the police. We got the thin blue line is just all of us connected, keeping that wall up, you know. Separate the good from the bad.
And I counted 35 of the 50 states that were represented, and that's a lot.
Friday morning, Maplewood police officer Julie Olson, after a standing ovation, received the Police Officer of the Year award from the National Emerald Society for the role she played in the ending of the madness of September 7th. Friday night, an unexpected downpour greeted the Emerald Society parade. Saturday morning, May 15th, President Barack Obama spoke to the families at the memorial service on the Capitol's West Lawn.
To the survivors of fallen law enforcement officers, our hearts go out to you for your loss. The husbands and wives, mothers and fathers you loved, they protected us all. And all Americans are grateful for the lives that they gave in the line of duty. We often take it for granted, this cycle of life. We know, of course, that chance can change everything overnight, but we also rely on a certain order in our lives, a certain sense of security that lets us sleep safely in our beds and walk around our neighborhoods free from fear and go about our daily lives without being the victims of crime. That sense of security doesn't come on its own. What makes it possible, what makes freedom possible, are the law enforcement officers that we honor today.
It's an honor. I mean, very much so, to have the president come and take time out of his day and to speak.
We went to the memorial service, and just sitting there with all these people coming in to pay their respects. It's magnificent, that's all I can say.
And when we see a folded flag given and the pipes begin to play, know that soul now walks in God's amazing grace. And so we lean
Richard S. Crittenden, Sr.
because they stood for honor and truth. They may be gone, but not forgotten, forever living in me and you. So we lean on the fallen. Yeah, we lean on the fallen.
Watch a flock of birds against the morning sun. Close your eyes and listen to the river run. Catch a firefly in your hand or a raindrop on your tongue. That's right. There is a God. There is a God. There is a God. How much proof do you need? Plant a seed and see what comes out of the ground. Find the heartbeat on your baby's ultrasound. In a few years, hear me laughing. Don't it sound like a song? Stop and think about what you don't understand. Things like life and love and how the world began.
Christine Crittenden met with Minnesota Senator Al Franken and Congresswoman Betty McCollum to bring attention to domestic violence concerns.
He is very dedicated as far as domestic violence issues and also law enforcement. But he took a lot of time and we talked, and he asked if I could tell him anything about what happened to Rick, and I told him how he died. And I said it's this Project Remand that is out there. It's a good project, but I think it needs to be fine-tuned. Senator Franken was going to look into that. I told him I also felt orders for protection. There should be something more they can do than just wait until a person hurts somebody.
I met both Congresswoman McCollum and Senator Franken when we were out there, and they were both very supportive of the family, very supportive of my dad and the police officers in Minnesota. And hopefully, between this terrible tragedy and the awareness we have now, we can maybe get some things changed in legislation for the better. It felt that they were listening. Senator Franken's aide was taking a lot of notes from my mom, mostly from my mom. But I believe both of them, Congresswoman McCollum also, is listening, and you hope that as a person, they're genuine and they will care about something like this and try to make some changes, because they need to be made.
The Washington, D.C. trip proved to be a healing journey for many. Still, the absence of Rick Crittenden is felt deeply.
I miss just sitting and talking to him about his day and his calls and his cases, and looking at the excitement in his eyes that he still had for this job. That's what I miss. He lifted me up. To watch him be so excited, to see him so happy with his job and where his life was leading, it made a positive impact on me. And I appreciated that so much, and never got a chance to tell him that.
That he was like a father to me. That any time that I needed advice or needed a shoulder to lean on or someone just to talk to, I would always call Rick.
What do I miss most about him? I suppose just him being here. Him being around to rip and to joke with, I think is just the aspect of it. Just his larger-than-life ability to make you laugh, to make you smile, and joke around, and then the interaction with my girls, because they still ask about him.
The thing is that I don't ever remember Rick actually ever coming to work not happy. I think he actually liked coming to work. And that's not something very many of us can say.
Him being in the patrol room and us just saying things, probably think people would think we're sick, but it keeps our sanity. I miss that probably the most. We can sit back and go, we're sick son of a bitches, and laugh, and then go on to the next call or whatever it is, and get our sanity back.
Cheesy mustache. I shaved mine the weekend of Labor Day to go up, when we went up to our lake home, and I shaved it because it's been over 30 years I had it. I just wanted to do something different. And so Rick and I would tease each other about our mustache. And he never got to see me without it. To see his expression when I had it off, but.
There's nothing that I'd really like to share except that I miss my friend Rick. And I'm sick to death about it. I'm sick to death what his family has to go through. And I'm sick to death that we have to face these things in our life. But it is the profession that we chose, and there is a danger there. And I just hope we can keep chugging along as a department and as people and friends and family, and I hope we don't lose sight of what happened. And I think we're on the right track of keeping Rick in our thoughts and his family in our thoughts, and having a memorial built so every time you drive by, people think of him.
He is missed every single day.
It sucks.
Like I said, I didn't know Rick, but I know the person that he made Joe, and he was a great person. He is a great person. He's not gone. He's here. He's watching over Christine.
They still have a hard time. I hear a lot of, I wish Grandpa could come to our game. I wish Grandpa, you know, he'll never see another football game. He'll never be at another baseball game. He'll never be, you know, goofing around at Christmas. He'll never be, you know, so I think it's still really hard for them.
I was looking forward to, if they ever got out of line, to send them on a ride along with Grandpa.
You know, just having talks with him and having a beer with him and stuff like that.
I'm going to cry. I just miss everything. He was very special. And he loved me and Dad. And he let us know it. And it's just so hard.
He's just deeply missed.
I miss his wisdom. I miss calling him up when I have a problem, when I have an issue with my kids or a question or anything with my career. How would you handle this? And I just miss that that lifeline. It's like I've numerous times, not so much now, but for months afterwards, I wouldn't hit my phone, go to Dad's cell, hit it, and then I'd be like, you know, it's just, he was wise, he was smart, he was everything.
Yep, it's the only promise he ever broke. Promised he'd always come home.
Rick Crittenden didn't make it home to Christine on September 7, 2009. He gave his life as he lived it, serving others. But many will tell you, Rick's larger-than-life spirit lives on as strong as ever.
Oh, I talk to him all the time. I talk to him all the time, of course. But yeah, I talk to the butt munch every day.
His eyes could light up the stars in heaven. I guess that's why God wanted him around. He was a partner, a hero, a friend. Long after we laid him in the ground, he touched the lives of everyone. How I wish that he was still around. His hands were like chiseled concrete stone, but his daughters felt a velvet touch. It's not the same since you've been gone. God would miss him oh so much. He was an angel in blue, a light in the dark, a friend you can count on. He spoke with his heart, his eyes how they shine, his voice like a song. Not a day passes by, we don't realize he's gone. He was an angel in blue. He was a husband, a father, a son, the kind of policeman I dreamed I could be. Never thinking of himself, he died in the line of duty. He left this world much too soon, and left a void that can't be filled. Every time I close my eyes, I see his memory still. He was an angel in blue, a light in the dark, a friend you can count on. He spoke with his heart, His eyes, how they shine, his laugh like a song. Not a day passes by, we don't realize he's gone. He was an angel in blue. He was a partner, a hero, a friend.